Well, in the end, it's 48 points to the Giants. I think there's plenty of questions for Adam Kingsley to be asking after a win, but they haven't won here for a couple of years against the Essendon Bombers, so I think they'd be happy to get the 4 points on a Thursday night, head back home and regroup. They had some players out there that absolutely dominated, and one man who dominated tonight was Tom Green, and he's with our Brad Johnson.
Oh, Jackie certainly is. 16 clearances for yourself tonight. Tom, through that part of the ground, you really took control.
Yeah, I think, well, I'm too slow. I'm not like Finn to do it on the outside, so I've got to do it somewhere. And yeah, it was, you know, we know to put them under the pump. You got to own the territory and get our hands on it first. So it was a real focus, and it was nice to hear it at match time.
You were challenged early in the game. Yeah, they couldn't kick one. They kicked 8 points. You guys were accurate. Conversion was the difference, but they certainly brought a lot early.
Yeah, no, they certainly did. I think that's one of the great myths about footy is that teams are just going to roll over no matter what happens. Like, they're a group of competitors as well, and as you said, it was just we were sort of lucky, I guess, in the first quarter. We converted a bit better, so they were really up for the fight, and it took us a little while. When
you look at the W's, yes, you're in good form. You just said you're a little bit frustrated then on the game. What frustrated you?
Well, we just didn't play for 4 quarters, which I know is a real challenge, but we didn't play the way that we wanted to. So there'll definitely be plenty to review in that. And yeah, it's a constant work on for us.
Plenty of positives, though, that come from individuals. Yourself getting a lot of ball. Obviously, Steve Canilio back into the lineup. I love Darcy Jones tonight. The boys upstairs did as well. The work rate up and down the ground's enormous.
Yeah, it is. It's a really big part of our game that's really important. You've got to be able to get up and back. And Jonesy, you know, with his big tank, but then also his electric speed, you really notice it when he's getting up and back. So, as you said, it's great to see Cogs back in as well. I thought he played a really good game too. So it's nice to, you know, as you said, there are definitely some positives, no doubt.
And Jackie Stringer starting to get going as well. A big night for him against his old team.
Yeah, he was excited. He was excited to come up against the old mob. So, yeah, he's fantastic. I mean, you look how dangerous he is. He got so many looks inside forward 50, and with some straighter kicking, he might have had an even bigger impact. But, yeah, we've loved having him, and we've seen the last couple of weeks what he can do.
Certainly, Tom. Well, congratulations on your game tonight and the teams. Enjoy the win.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Mr. Brad and Tom. 30 disposals for Tom Green. We heard about his clearances, 6 inside 50s. 16 clearances going at 84%, kicked a goal as well. And he mentioned Jake Stringer, who kicked 3 goals, 1. And as you mentioned, Matty Hill, the Giants are in the 4 momentarily. It's a bit of a log jam there. A lot of games obviously still to come, but they've won 5 on the bounce now, Jack. They take on the Swans, their crosstown rivals, next week.
Battle of the Bridge next week against their arch rivals up there in New South Wales. Impressive performance from Tom Green today. You can see Jake Stringer chatting to a few of his ex-teammates there. And Essendon today, they're not disappointed. Like, I look at Essendon and they've won inside 50s by 4. So they've had their opportunities. They kicked 0 goals, 8 to start the game, and that just compounded on their performance, clearly with injuries. And obviously the 13th debutant, Liam McMahon, who showed a little bit tonight as well. I thought Jake Gresham was okay as well, had 9 clearances and 6 inside 50s. Zach Merritt continues to put up numbers and lead from the front. Jordan Ridley as well was fantastic behind the ball with 9 intercept possessions. So there's enough there for Essendon to go, hey, how you asked me what would be a win tonight for Essendon. I think they could pick through that and go, well, Ridley won his contest, Redmond was good, even Dylan Shield showed a little bit. And some of their younger players as well were fantastic. They were clearly beaten in the ruck, and Todd Goldstein was managed this week, so you believe he'd probably come back in and give them a more senior body around the ball there. Peter Wright started to show a bit later on. So there is little wins through this performance from Essendon, but in the end, just outclassed by the GWS Giants.
And as you said, those little positives, just 3 less scoring shots than the Giants tonight, 21-24. And for the Giants, well, they've got Josh Kelly to come back. He's got the hip injury, of course. Jesse Hogan with that foot.
Sam Taylor as well comes back in potentially next week too. But
Taylor, Hogan and Kelly. Yeah, they're fair inclusions, aren't they?
3 big ins. The Giants just didn't look like they got their flow right tonight. So whether that's how they used the ball in possession was quite long. They actually didn't get the orange tsunami going. Handball receives were down for the Giants tonight, and that's where they're going to challenge and push into September and challenge for for the 2025 Premiership is that they need to get that orange tsunami up. Kelly will obviously help with that too. So, but tonight it was stoppage, and you can see Tom Green on. We've spoken to Tom Green already, but another man who was fantastic in the middle of the ground was the ruckman. He was fantastic. Just too big of a body in there against some younger rucks, and Peter Wright, not a traditional ruckman. Kieran Briggs. And forward 50 stoppage. They've kicked 5 goals, 1 in forward 50 stoppage, and that's a number that you very rarely seen. You haven't seen for a long time. 4 goals, 1 in that first half from the GWS Giants, their best since 2019.
And that man there, wasn't too many highlights tonight, but Jake Stringer kicked 3, and it was the highlight of the night. The ball went deep forward. He'd already kicked a couple of goals at this point. He was up against his great mate, Jaden Laverde, who we mentioned he was in his wedding party. And he just stood on his best mate's head and took an absolute hanger, and then went round the corner, kicked his second, and soon had his third. I think he enjoyed it, Matt, and gave it to his mate.
Yeah, I think he did. Some bragging rights there, and then he went back and slotted it, and just did a bit of a rise smile as well after he put it through. But he was certainly seeing them well. He was sniffing goals, wasn't he, particularly in that third term. And
he said pre-game to Sarah and Jason and Brad that he was looking forward to catching up with his mate, and there'd no doubt be a bit of chat between him and Laverde out on the ground.
Yeah.
Took a good grab on him, but what a player in this type of form to bring into September. He kicked 4 last week, Jack. He's kicked 3 this week, and he can do the X-factor things.
And he can, and this is an X-factor that the Giants haven't had going into September. They've had someone similar to him in Toby Green, but look, I'm fascinated about what Jake Stringer does over this next period and then into September. They took the risk on picking him. They didn't know what Jake Stringer they were going to get. They put the body comp clauses into his contract, and he's repaid them, and he's repaying them now. So he just gives them another dimension. We've only seen him forward tonight, but he does have that ability to go on ball and give them a different look through the middle part of the ground.
So you've got that X-factor player in Stringer. You've got the man in Aaron Cadman, who's a work in progress, who is going to be a star of the future. And then, as we mentioned, Jesse Hogan, the sharpshooter.
Yeah, throw in the skipper and Riccardi as well. And it's a explosive forward line. So the Giants will come into their rooms. They started the round 7th on the ladder. They've moved up momentarily to 4th. They've gone now 12 and 6 and boosted their percentage, the Giants. So they'll be happy. No injury concerns. None for either side, which is good news for the Bombers. But the Giants, on a rare Thursday night opportunity, get the job done over the Bombers by 48 points. Plenty to come with Sarah, Jason, Brad and Kingy in the post-game. But now we'll go into the rooms and hear the song.
There's a big, big sound from the west side of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. The ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. The longest strides and the highest reach, but stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best, and we will never surrender. Fight to the end. We're greater than the rest.
This is Thursday Night Footy on Fox, brought to you by Ford Everest. Conquer the weekend. Jason Dunstall, David King. There's jubilation here in the Giants' rooms. They came to get the win. They did that. A percentage boost, maybe not as much as they would have liked, but they tick the boxes and move on.
They did. I've got to be honest, I've heard songs sung with more gusto, Kingy. I think they're just ticking the box here and then moving on.
Yeah, they are, as Lockie Whitfield goes behind. Well done, mate. They've been terrific. They come with a mission. In the first half, they just put a stamp on this game. Yep. And the way they did it has probably been different to what they've done the last few weeks. They did it at clearance rather than with ball movement, Jason. So it never pleased coaches. I'm not sure whether they'd be happy to have won that way or whether they would have liked to have their free-flowing game up and running. But the ability to rest Jesse Hogan, I think, has an impact on all those things.
Yeah, and they subbed Jack Buckley out, who had a little bit of a niggle, but they did a few things that they haven't been doing well lately, so I think that's good as well.
Yeah.
I think it's the opportunity just to work on a few little things.